Food Stories.
This is Food Stories.
This is Food Stories, a podcast from FareShare Greater Manchester.
A podcast from FareShare Greater Manchester.
A podcast from FareShare Greater Manchester.
Hello and welcome to Food Stories from FareShare Greater Manchester. FareShare Greater Manchester is the largest food redistribution charity in the northwest of England, rescuing good-to-eat surplus food from going to waste and redistributing it to charities and community groups who are serving their communities with food. In this episode, we're sharing the story of another one of our community food members. This time we're visiting the Storehouse Food Bank based in New Life Church in Congleton.
The food bank opened in 2011 and in the UK 30,000 people were using the food banks. Today it's 4 million. So it's been growing, but the people who supply our food, like FareShare, and the members of the church and members of the public are so generous.
We've been having it for 18 months now, every Wednesday. It's the highlight of everybody's week because you never know what you're getting. It's ever so exciting. And there's a real buzz on a Wednesday when FareShare comes here.
And I think one of the biggest things that has made a difference since we've been having FareShare regular deliveries is the amount of fresh food, fresh fruit and vegetables especially, that we're able to give out to people.
The Storehouse is a free food bank which is operated by New Life Church in Congleton. It offers emergency food support to people in crisis and those in extreme hardship. Individuals, couples and families can be referred to the Storehouse by over 50 different support organisations and agencies working within the local community, including schools, citizens' advice and the local authority. When we arrived, the volunteers were gearing up for a busy day.
Just updating you now, you're back off holiday. Maria's off at the moment, so I've done the collection this morning, but if you could do it tomorrow morning, that'd be brilliant. My name's Joanna Crichton and I'm the Caring Ministries Manager here at New Life Church. We've been around for about 43 years now, and we're a church and community centre that started with a small group of people in my parents' lounge, and now it's grown to be a real hub. We've got our own coffee shop and a nursery school here. We also run dozens of community groups, and we operate the only food bank in Congleton out of here as well. So some of the things that happen throughout the week, we have church groups meet here, like life groups and things like that. But then we also have other groups. The local authority use our room every week for hearing impaired children, for the Shining Stars group. We run the Forget Me Not group every week, which is dementia support. It's a group for the carers and the people who are diagnosed to come to. We run a group called the Jubilee Club every week, and that's for anybody in society to come to, often people who feel like they don't fit anywhere else, and that's a really lovely group that they can come and feel welcome at every week. We've got a debt advisor, we've got 4 counsellors now. We've got 2 in the family support team, one of them's been me. I've got a split role between the food bank and family support. And I'm trying to think of other things that we do as well. It just seems, I think they're the main ones, but there is lots of other bits and bobs that go on here too, yes.
So tell me a bit about your food bank and the offering you have here for people as far as food's concerned.
So the food bank was started about 13 years ago. A member of the church who was also a trustee really felt on his heart that there should be provision for people in the church who were struggling, and it literally started as a cupboard. And it was always led by volunteers, and then as the demand sort of grew, other people started asking for food, so then it sort of moved to a slightly bigger storage room, and now it goes across 2 whole rooms. And we work with multiple different agencies on a referral basis, lots of local authorities, schools, mental health teams, citizens' advice, the list is almost endless. But then also on the flip side for the providers, we work with yourselves, FareShare and FareShare Go. We collect from 5 or 6 different supermarkets daily, and then we rely on donations from the general public, both financial and the actual food, to be able to put the food parcels together. My journey with the food bank started the day we went into lockdown, which was actually sort of a bit of a baptism of fire, because at that point I hadn't really been involved apart from putting referrals in myself as a family support worker. And it was brilliant what they were doing, but we had to send everybody home. And I don't know how I volunteered, but I got the stay here and keep it going because it was classed as an essential thing. And what I found is people were being given a couple of bags of food, but it was quite random. You couldn't necessarily feed your family for a week. And as a mum of 3 children, I was sort of looking at what people were getting, and I was thinking, well, I'd have to give one child this and one child that, and nobody would be sat around eating the same. So I tried to bring a bit more structure to it and a bit more targeted shopping. And at that point, when we were only allowed 4 tins of this and 4 tins from that, and we were queuing outside supermarkets, I persuaded them all to let me in with all the key workers, like the nurses and stuff like that, at 6 a.m. So I'd come to work via all the supermarkets, buying 4 of these from Morrison's, 4 of them, until I hit my limit. But what it actually did is it made it, although it was very challenging times, it made it better because I could put together much more structured food parcels. And then as the stuff was harder to source, that's when we sort of noticed that I started to compare some of the prices, and I started to notice that some of the frozen food was not only better quality and had less preservatives in it, actually it was more versatile and you could do more with it, feed more people with it, and it was the same cost. So I got permission to buy a couple of freezers, things like that, and it sort of spread from there. And then I really had it. I'd been a couple of years ago, I really had it on my heart that I was frustrated at some of the processed food. Like, although it's great that we can give out hot dogs and tins of meatballs, actually there's more nutrition in dog food than there is in those. And we hosted a day for lots of different people from the NHS and the local authority, and they asked me to provide lunch based on a food parcel, which I did. And what I found interesting was half of them wouldn't eat it.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of them bought donations of meatballs and things with them because they were asked to. And I gave a very small presentation, and I brought up the thing about the nutrition in meatballs and dog food and things like that. And they were quite shocked. And I said, my vision is to be able to have the resources to be able to give out the fresh fruit and vegetables and things like that. So we do get a little bit from our local Tesco's, their end of day stuff, but it's very, very short-lived. We collect it at night and it's often got that day on it. So I started looking at local greengrocers and seeing what we could do. How much money did we have? Could I start buying it in? So we started to buy some basics of potatoes, carrots, things like that, and have a regular stock of them. And then lo and behold, about 2 months later, I get an email from you guys saying, would you like to partner with us? We've got a slot on a Wednesday afternoon. This is how much it is. This is this. And I was like, amazing, brilliant. And not looked back since. We've been having it for 18 months now, every Wednesday. It's the highlight of everybody's week because you never know what you're getting. It's ever so exciting. And there's a real buzz on a Wednesday when FareShare comes here. And obviously we then expanded and had a much bigger commercial fridge so that we could keep it and make sure it was at its best life for as long as possible. And now everybody who comes to us and accesses us as a food bank gets the opportunity to have as much fresh fruit and vegetables as we can give out. And then if there is a surplus as well, because it is such a big community centre, we put things like, let's say we've got half a crate of carrots that we know we're not going to be able to get through in time on a Friday, we'll just put them on the free table in the corridor, and then anybody passing by can help themselves to it to avoid waste.
Obviously, you've been involved directly with the food bank from 2020.
Yes.
How have you seen things change in the intervening time?
So initially, it was absolute doubled overnight. We went from feeding about 25 people a week. That was our rough numbers and has been, for about 10 years before that. And it went to about 50, then 100. And the pandemic sort of handed the baton straight to the cost of living crisis, didn't it? So our numbers slowly came down, but it's never dropped back below 50 again. What I'd say that I've noticed more is probably more families needing it and more employed people needing it. So I think that there's been a real notice of those people on the lower spectrum of earnings, and even that those middle ground people, because obviously as everything goes up, but not at the speed of, I know that national living wage has gone up and things like that, but so's everything else, and they don't keep up with each other. So we do find a lot more families needing us and a lot more people who have paid their bills but don't have anything left for food at the end of the month, sort of thing. So we have I've probably noticed as well that some people might use us once or twice and then you don't see them again, but there's other people who regularly need that additional support. And with those people, we do also try and, without prying, point them in the direction of other services. So if they do need debt advice or even just a benefits review, there might be something that they're not aware that they qualify for, we will then refer on to one of our other teams so that we hopefully can help them change the situation that they're in.
You've mentioned about all the different things that go on here. Obviously you're a Christian organisation. Do people who use your food bank have to be Christian themselves? No,
absolutely not. Everybody's welcome here. You know, at the heart of everything we do is our faith, but this is something that is open to everybody and anybody that needs to use it, as is all the different ministries that happen here.
Now, before we came to do this interview, you were saying how you get an awful lot of support from the local community. So presumably the fact that you are the only food bank in Congleton means that people know who you are, and if they feel they want to help, they can do. But how does that community support help you do your job?
We couldn't do it without the community support, to be perfectly honest. It's absolutely incredible. We've got everything from a few people who bring a bag of shopping or a tin every single week. We've got members of the public who have set up a direct debit and give us a few pounds a month. We have local businesses that support us larger than that. They can bring quite substantial gifts in, which is amazing. But then we also have lots of different community groups that at different points of the year will support us as well. Sometimes we don't even know about it. So the local tennis club have a trolley, the rugby club are currently doing Bring It In every week, and they've just expanded that into the adults. It was the juniors originally. The local football club support us, all the primary schools, and then at Christmas the two different high schools. One does Food Bank Friday, and every Friday they ask all the children, and there's sort of 1,500 children in the school, to bring a tin. What's brilliant is they ask me what to bring as well. So they tend to have a meat week, or this week a Christmas chocolate week. So yeah, it's fantastic, and we really couldn't do it without them.
It's four sorts of Co-op,
yeah,
Small Tesco,
yeah,
Greggs,
yeah,
Marks and Spencer's,
yes,
or Co-op.
If that's all right,
yeah,
if you can do that before me.
No problem.
And then yesterday's FareShare delivery was huge. I think it was 218 kilos yesterday, so there's loads of fruit and veg.
My name is Mike. I've worked here for 3 years, and I'm a volunteer in the food bank in New Life Church.
What brought you to volunteering here?
I retired teaching in Manchester Prison, and nobody prepares you for retirement. And I was at a loose end, and I live almost next door. Popped in for a coffee, and they snatched my hand off, and it's been great.
So what does your role involve here?
Okay, tomorrow morning, for example, I will go to 4 different supermarkets, to a small Tesco, to Marks and Spencer's, to Greggs and the Co-op, and I will pick up food, and then I open the food bank at 10 o'clock with a colleague, and our job is to hand out food when we receive a referral, and the referral is a piece of paper that is either brought in or it's emailed to us from a doctor. It can be the police, probation, social prescriber, and then we hand out enough food for a week. We'll hand out food parcels for 1 person, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6.
Wow. Okay, so it's your responsibility then to put the food parcels together?
Yes, the way I work is that I would say to you, would you like cornflakes? Would you like corned beef? Would you like tuna? And if you say no, at least we save that to give to somebody else. When we're very busy, sometimes we have a crate made up and we just empty as quickly as possible the stuff in the crate. And maybe they will bring it back the next time they come because they don't want to throw it away.
Has demand changed during the time that you've been here?
If I said to you that, I'll give you a statistic very quickly. The food bank opened in 2011, and in the UK, 30,000 people were using the food banks. Today it's 4 million. So it's been growing, but the people who supply our food, like FareShare, and the members of the church and members of the public are so generous. But frequently we need to buy our own products from the local supermarkets.
And how do you finance that then?
We have an allowance from the church itself. We also get donations from the members of the church, and we also get donations from members of the public who are very generous.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of support from the community.
We do have a lot of support from the community, especially people who have used us and they get on better with their lives and they progress and then they remember to pay back.
Well, that's lovely, the fact that you're remembered and you're having such an impact. What kind of feedback have you had from people who come and use this service?
I can honestly say that I can't remember any negative feedback. It's always positive. They're very grateful. And as they progress themselves, they may have been disallowed benefits, so they have no money. But very often they will, when they get their benefits, they'll bring in a free bent or steak pie or a corned beef or tuna or something like that and just say thank you.
And what do you get out of your role here?
It kind of keeps me, I'm not exaggerating, but it keeps me sane. I know that it's a decent thing to do to help other people. It keeps me occupied, and I've made friends.
That's the wonder of volunteering.
It is absolutely, yes, yeah. And the church are very good. At Easter they put on a lovely meal for us, and at Christmas they put on a lovely meal for the volunteers. I think there are 14 or 16 volunteers altogether, and we get on. We've all got different tastes. We've got different ways of doing things, but the main objective is to make sure that people have enough to go to sleep and not be hungry.
The Storehouse Food Bank sources its food from many different places, but by partnering with FareShare Greater Manchester, it's been able to widen out the range of food it can offer the people it serves. Jeff Cutts is an elder at New Life Church.
And I think one of the biggest things that has made a difference since we've been having FareShare regular deliveries is the amount of fresh food, fresh fruit and vegetables especially, that we're able to give out to people. And I think for many years we were able to give tinned vegetables, tinned potatoes and things like that, but we didn't have the fresh things in the same way as we do now, and that's one of the biggest bonuses, I really think.
The church offers a range of services to complement the food parcels it gives out, with trained debt advisors, benefit help, support for families and young people, as well as a group for families affected by dementia. Jeff says the support they offer the local community goes far beyond just food parcels.
It's life-changing, I think, life-rescuing for some people. And as a Christian church, we think of life for now and for eternity, but it's now, for example, there's a young lady who arrived in Congleton with two children, two primary school age children, and her support worker got in touch, and they just arrived, to have a safe place to live, but they didn't have anything. They'd had the bags that they'd been able to escape with, let's say, and she was so grateful, tearful about receiving like a store cupboard full of food and a fridge full of food and things like that. We could set her up right on day one because she'd arrived and didn't have anything. And we'd normally don't deliver, but on occasion we'd take something out when it's really urgent like that. And that young lady's actually come in and received other support, through the family support ministry. Her children are involved with some of the children's groups in church, and so that's helping them to make friends and things as well. And she herself has made some friends of other mums, and so it's great to be able to give food and quality food and things like that, and fresh food, but it's the wider relationships and the impact that first contact can then have to secure someone and give them a safe place to live like that, really. Safe being, yes, I've got enough food, and yes, my children are actually loved and looked after, and there are people who are interested in me, and I've got a circle of friends now.
If you'd like to find out more about the Storehouse Food Bank, you can find a link to their website in the show notes for this episode. And if you've been inspired by what you've heard and you'd like to find out more about FareShare Greater Manchester and the work we're doing to support charities and community groups across our city, please have a look at our website to find out how you can support us through food donations, financially, or by volunteering your time to support our operation. Please share this episode with anyone who you think would like to hear it too. And if you're able to, please leave a rating and review on your favourite podcast app to help other people find out about food stories from FareShare Greater Manchester. Until next time, thanks for listening.